Okay. So in the last class, we tried to understand what is RDBMS. Okay. So with several exams we have seen, and we also covered the features of RDBMS here with examples. Okay. Now let's start. So finally, in the first demo session, what I said, SQL Server is RDBMS, and yesterday we covered its features also. Okay, here the thing you must understand this: learning SQL Server is nothing but learning RDBMS. Learning RDBMS. Okay, so because most concepts are same in all RDBMS softwares. Most concepts are same. You take SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL. See, the RDBMS concepts are same. Okay, so any software which is supporting these 12 rules given by F code, if it is satisfies those rules, that is called a perfect RDBMS. I'm not trying to say to learn all these rules. Okay, just that's why I explained only first two rules. This you learned already in your academics. Here we are going to see practical implementation. But before going to do that, what I'm trying to say is here you are learning SQL Server, but the thing is, first you have to understand it is RDBMS, and if you know it, then you can work with the remaining RDBMS softwares, Oracle, MySQL, Postgre. Okay, so that means learning SQL Server is it is like so that means it is already you understand 90% of the remaining softwares, Oracle, MySQL, Postgre, everything. Okay, so it is same for all. What is same in all RDBM softwares? The way we store data in tables. Okay, and we use SQL language. It is standard one. SQL language is standard for every RDBMS, and they support asset properties, transactions, support constraints. Constraints in the sense primary key, foreign key, unique key, check constraints, everything, and they support indexes. Okay, they support view, store. Everything is same. Functions, everything is same. Okay, only the difference what you find is syntactically they may differ. Syntaxes difference you may find. Okay, suppose if you take SQL Server, okay, suppose if you want to get top 10 records, what you will write? Select top, select top 10 star uh, from from EMP. Select top 10 star from EMP. Top 10 records you get. Okay, in in Oracle, the same thing you will write like this: select star from EMP, fetch first first 10 rows, 10 rows only. Okay, Oracle. Now, let us see in MySQL also. In MySQL, what you write, I think you use limit something. Okay, select select star from EMP, limit 10. You write like this. Syntactically, you can find differences. Okay, that is one difference. And the architecture, it made different. Okay, and the storage engine, transaction handling and concurrency, platform, and OS support, operating system support. You may find these differences. Their licensing, cost, functions, features, tools, everything will be differed. But the main concept is RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. Okay, everything is RDBMS here. Okay, that means if you know how to ride a bike, you can ride any bike, right? In the same way, if you understand it is RDBMS, and if you know SQL Server, if you learn it, you can work on remaining RDBMS softwares also. Okay, that is the main thing you must understand here. Okay, now let's come back to our SQL Server main concept. Today, we are going to start the main concepts of SQL Server. Okay, wait, me. Okay, now, 1 second. SQL Server. Okay, so SQL Server is basically RDBMS product from Microsoft, also supports ORDBMS features and used to create and to manage databases. Okay, so here the thing is, it supports RDBMS core. RDBMS core, that means stores structured data in tables. That means rows and columns, and also along with that ORDBMS extensions. Okay, that means it supports objects, complex data types, okay, multimedia, etc. Okay, so it supports both RDBMS and ORDBMS features. Okay, now let us see versions of SQL Server. Here, the first version of SQL Server was introduced in 1991. Okay, and 4.2 version was released in 1993. 6.0 was released in 1995. 6.5 was in 1996. 7.0, okay, 1998. Okay, from 2000 onwards, you see, SQL Server 2000, year 2000, 2005, 2005. That means, yeah, Microsoft changed the way name the version. It is changed actually based on the in which year they are going to release. The year they have taken it as a version number. They have considered version number as a year. See, year 2000. That means SQL Server 2000. In 2005, it is released. SQL Server 2005. 2008, it is released. 2008. In the same way, in which year it is released, the year is given as a version number for SQL Server. Okay. In 2022, it is released. So that's why it is SQL Server 2022. Okay. We are going to learn SQL Server 2022. Okay. You understood the difference? Okay. Now, installation part and all we will see later. Okay, just we will go and see what's exactly SQL Server have, what are the features of SQL Server. These things we will see first. Okay, now SQL Server, it has two major workloads. Okay, wait, let me copy these things. See, it has two major workloads. What is the first one? OLTP, online transaction processing. What it is? It is for day-to-day transactions. Day-to-day transactions happening every second in a business. Day-to-day transactions happening every second in a business. Okay, that means real time. Okay, now OLAP, online analytical processing. It is for analysis, data analysis, right? You know, so it is for analysis and reports, to generate reports, trends, okay, to find the trends, and also predictions, predictions. Okay, that means for decision making, we use OLAP, online analytical processing. It is for analysis, reports, trends, predictions. Okay, so online transaction processing is for day-to-day transactions. That means it is like suppose if you take a supermarket billing counter. Okay, we buy items now. They scan the items and we have to pay the amount and bill is generated. So everything must be fast, accurate, and happening at the same time. Okay, these are all small transactions and high speed. Yeah, real time in the sense what instantly happens, immediately it happens at the same time. Okay, that means it is not historical data. It is for day-to-day transactions. It is happening now. That is OLTP. OLTP. Whereas OLAP means it is for historical data. What they do with this historical data, they do analysis, they generate reports, they can generate reports now. Okay, so they check the trends and predictions, they take the decision making. Okay, so it is for analysis. OLAP is for analysis. Okay, if the manager is there, if you want to see the sales report for any month, okay, he can generate a report, right? So, and if you want to know the best selling products, you can see by observing the historical data, by taking the historical data. Where we get this historical data? From OLTP only. From this database to this OLAP system, we get everything. But here we maintain the historical data here. It is for day-to-day transactions. So day-to-day transactions is nothing but current transactions. What is this? Is for OLTP optimized for writes, write heavy, optimized for reads. Okay. Okay. So it is for current transactions, whereas OLAP, it is for analysis. We maintain historical data. Okay, that is the difference between OLTP and OLAP. These two are the two systems. Okay, database systems SQL Server supports. Okay, now the next thing is actually SQL Server is used for two purposes. What is the first one? Database development, and the next one is administration. Now see here, this is for database development, first one. Okay, database developer, what he does is, you can see it has a roles and responsibilities. Okay, creating tables, views, indexes, store procedures, triggers, writing queries using commands, select command, insert command, update, delete, SQL, TSQL programming. Okay, and completely to implement business logic. Okay, whose responsibility it is? Database developers' responsibility it is. That means it is for database development and also it is for database administration. Okay, and here the database administrator, he takes the backup, he can do restore, and he can provide security. Okay, and he creates roles, he creates users, he gives permissions. Okay, he does performance tuning. Okay, so monitoring, maintenance, everything he does. That means here we have two roles. What is the first one? Database development, database developer, and database administrator. Okay, here we have two roles, right? Okay, so SQL Server is for database development and administration. Okay, it is up to you which one you are going to learn. Now we are going to learn database development only. Database development, DBA is separate. You have to attend for that. If you are interested in DBA, so you have to attend DBA, SQL Server DBA course. Okay, that is about the purpose of SQL Server here. Okay, now the next thing is we have Components. Okay, first we have to see the architecture also. Architecture. Let me explain that. The next one is client server architecture. Client server architecture. Okay, client server architecture. Anybody, can you explain what is client server architecture? Ishwar, Rajeshwar, Vivek, Mishra. Anybody? What is client server architecture? Okay. Client in the sense, in simple words, it sends a request. It sends a request, whereas server it processes that request okay, and sends the result back. Okay, right. Sends result back. Client in the sense it sends a request, and server in the sense that it processes that request and sends the result back. Okay, that is client server. Okay, but in SQL Server terminology, let us try to understand. In SQL Server terminology, what is a client? What is a client? What is a client? A client is an application or user tool like SQL Server Management Studio. SQL Server Management Studio. See here, SQL Server Management Studio. This is okay. It is a tool, client-side tool. Okay, an application or user tool like SQL Server Management Studio, and also we can take web applications, okay, and mobile applications, etc. These are the clients. Okay. Now server in the sense, simply SQL Server database engine. That means the place where actual data is stored and processed is called server. The place where actual data is stored and processed is called server. Whereas client in the sense it is an application or user tool. Okay, SQL Server Management Studio we use. Okay, and also web applications, they send request. Okay, you open the browser, you send a request to the server now. So it is a client. Mobile application in the same way. Okay, so this is in SQL Server terminology. We define client like this and server also. Okay, now see the components in SQL Server client server architecture. Components. Let me copy this thing. Components in SQL Server client server architecture. Now see here, client in the sense it sends SQL queries. Sending request means what? We write queries, right? That means sends SQL queries using graphical user interface. This is graphical user interface, GUI. SSMS is nothing but GUI, right? Or through other applications. This is client. This is one component. Next one is network protocol. Network protocol. What does it mean? To connect from client to server, we need a medium, na? We need a network. Okay, that's exactly what it is. Network protocol. That means it enables communication between the client and server. It enables communication between the client and server. Here you see TCP/IP. It means transmission control protocol. Internet protocol. Okay, this is one mode of communication between client and server, named pipes. We have other things also that we will see later. Okay, in the configuration part, I will explain that. Okay, this is about a network protocol. Okay, here TCP/IP is the standard communication protocol for most network systems. Okay, we use that. Okay, and next one is SQL Server Engine. SQL Server Engine. That means here, what I said here you see server in the sense SQL Server Engine. SQL Server Database Engine. See, here it is also a component here in SQL Server. It receives query. Client in the sense what? Sends SQL query. Right? Now, SQL Server Engine, it receives that query. It parses it. It checks syntactical errors. Okay, and executes that and returns back the result. It returns the result back to the client. Okay, and the next one is database. It is fourth component, database. What it is, it stores data in tables, tabular format, rows and columns, right? It stores data in tables. Okay, and the last one is services. Here we have SQL agent. It is one service. SQL agent. It is for automation. Reporting services, SSRS. Okay, analysis services, SSAS. Okay, we have ETL tools. If you come across anything related to ETL tools, then you will understand. SSRS is for reporting. IS is also there, integration services. SSAS, analytical services. Okay, these are the services in SQL Server. These are the components in SQL Server client server architecture. Okay, now let us see this architecture. Now see, this is client server architecture here. This is operating system, and this is SQL Server, where we install SQL Server. That is nothing but a server, database server. Okay, this is database server, nothing but engine, database engine. Okay, so server is a system where SQL Server is installed and running. It is a server system. Now, right side, you see this one. Okay, and left side, you see SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. It is our client tool. Through this client tool only, we can communicate with the database. That means where it is in server system. Okay, we will send a request and we get a response from the server. We send request to the server and it processes that response request and sends the result back to the client as a response. Okay, this is client server architecture. Now see, inside this SQL server, this SQL server, it manages two things: database and instance. It manages two things: database and instance. So here, the database, you see, it is created in hard disks. Okay, it is stored in hard disk. Okay, and it is permanent storage. Whereas if you see instance, it is SQL Server instance. It is created in RAM. It is a temporary storage. Okay, so it manages, SQL Server manages both the things. One is a database and another one is instance. Instance will be in RAM. Database is in hard disk. It is permanent. Here, RAM is temporary. Okay, so this is SQL Server architecture. Okay, now let me write here. Client in the sense what? Let me write first SQL Server. Server in the sense, server is a system where SQL Server is installed and running. Okay, and inside the server, SQL Server manages one thing, DB database, and second one is instance. Let me write clearly, database. Okay, instance. Right. Now, database is created in hard disk and acts as permanent storage and whereas instance, that means SQL Server instance, is created in RAM and acts as temporary storage. This is server. Whereas client is also a system where users can what he can do, he can connect to the server, server through an application or SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. Now, what we can do, we can submit the request to the server. Okay. And the next one is receives response from the server. This is server and this is client. Okay. Now you see what client tools we have. Let us see that client tools. Okay. First one is what? SQL Server Management Studio. Right? Here example is SQL Server Management Studio. Since we are learning SQL Server. Okay. That means user, he uses SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio, and he can connect to SQL Server and he can perform operations on database. Okay. Now you take Oracle. User, he uses SQL Plus. It's a client tool and he can connect to Oracle and he can work on database. And user, if you take MySQL, he uses a tool MySQL workbench and he can connect to MySQL and work on database. Okay, these are the client tools. Okay, here we use SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, now what is the advantage of having client server architecture? What is the advantage here? The advantage here, multiple clients can connect at the same time with the server. Multiple clients can connect to the server, right? And we can maintain a centralized database. We can have a centralized database control also, right? And also secure access. We can provide a secure access and it is efficient management and monitoring. That is the advantage of client server architecture. Okay. So it is done. Now client server architecture you understood now. Okay. Now the next part is, so anyhow, we can connect to the server. Now let us see. I'm trying to connect to the server. It is connected. Okay. It is SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. How to use it, everything I will explain tomorrow. Wait, it is connecting. Yes, see, it has connected. It has connected to with the SQL Server. This is a client application, client tool. Okay. So after connecting with the SQL Server, next part is how to communicate with the SQL Server. Okay. What I will write there in here, I have new query window. This is new query window. if I want to communicate with the SQL server, what should I write here? I should give comments, right? So after connecting with the SQL server, the next part is communicating with the SQL server. So I want to give commands to the server. So in order to communicate with SQL server, a language is needed, and that language is called as structured query language. Structured query, SQL, structured query language, SQL. Okay. Now let us see what is SQL. SQL, structured query language. Structured query language. Now, anyhow, what is SQL? Structured query language. Okay. It is a language used to communicate with SQL server. That means user communicates with SQL server by sending commands called queries. Let me write here. The user can communicate with SQL server by sending commands called queries. That means we can write queries there. We can write queries, select star from EMP. It's a query. Okay, it's a query. Okay, and next one is query or command, whatever it is, or instruction. We call it as instruction. Okay, queries or command, okay, or instruction. You can say it as instruction also, but usually we use queries. Okay. Now instruction. Right. Next. Okay. Now SQL server is introduced by IBM, and the initial name of this language was SQL, SQL, SQL. It was the initial name. Okay, and later it is renamed as SQL, structured query language. Okay, and the next important point here is SQL is common to all relational databases. All relational databases. Okay, all relational databases. That means you take SQL server. What you use? SQL only. Okay, Oracle, same, SQL, and MySQL, you use SQL. It is standard one. Postgre, one second, Postgre, SQL, same, SQL. In all these RDBMS softwares, we use same language, standard one. What is this? Structured query language. That means finally user, he uses SQL Server Management Studio. He uses SQL language to communicate with SQL Server to work on database. In the same way, the user, he uses SQL Plus and he uses SQL language to communicate with Oracle, and he can work on database. Okay, this is the relation between client and server. Okay, now, so here SQL is common to all relational databases. That is okay, but it has some limitations. Because This structured query language, it doesn't have full programming capabilities. It doesn't have full programming capabilities like loops, conditional statements. We cannot write that in SQL. Okay, functions we don't have in SQL. So Microsoft has designed and developed an extension to SQL, and that is called as TSQL. TSQL, transact SQL. TSQL. What it is? Transact SQL. Okay. Now let us see this. Okay, you will learn TSQL also. Okay. Now here TSQL includes all standard SQL commands, and along with that it also includes the following features, like first one is procedural procedural programming. Okay, next one, it has built-in functions. And it can handle, or it has a feature, error handling. Error handling. That means we write try catch blocks there. Okay, that we will learn later. Okay, error handling. Next, we can create local variables. Okay, and we have control of flow. This also you learn. Control of flow. Okay, and the system functions also we have. System functions. Okay, and we can create stored procedures. Triggers we can create. And also user defined functions. Also we can create. Let me write clearly. User defined functions. Okay, these are the features of TSQL. It is an extension to SQL. Okay, now let us see SQL commands. Okay, let us start with SQL commands. That means as part of SQL Server course, we are going to learn SQL and also TSQL. Okay, now SQL commands. Okay, now actually based on operations we perform on databases. SQL commands are categorized into 5 types. Let us see one by one. The first one is DDL. That means data definition language. Data definition language. Okay, the second one is DML. Data manipulation language. Next one, third one, DQL. Data query language. And fourth one, TCL. Transaction control language. And the fifth one is DCL. Data control language. Okay, so here we have 5 categories. What is the first one? Data definition language. DML, data manipulation language, and DQL, data query language, and TCL, transaction control language, and the last one is data control language, DCL, data control language. Okay, data control language. Now see what commands we have under all these categories. Let us see one by one. Under this DDL, we have create command, alter command, drop command, truncate command we have. Under DDL, we have create command, alter command, drop command, and truncate command. Okay. Under data manipulation language, insert command we have. Update, delete, merge is a command which comes under data manipulation language. Okay. Next one is data query language. What we have? We have one command here, that is select, querying data, select. It is one command, comes under data query language. Okay. Next one. TCL, transaction control language. It has commit command, rollback, and save transaction. Save transaction. Okay, it is partial rollback. It is commit, rollback, save transaction. These are the commands we have, which comes under transaction control. The next one is grant, and revoke. Okay, so these are the commands comes under TCL, data control language. Okay, so all these are case sensitive. Sorry, not case sensitive. Any case you can use. You can write uppercase or small case also. You can write. Okay, not case sensitive. Let me write that point here. Star or note. These commands are not case sensitive. Okay, these commands are not case sensitive. Okay, you can use any case, lowercase or uppercase. It is up to you. You can write anything. Okay, that is about the commands here. Okay, so let's stop here. We can continue this tomorrow. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay, installation and all, everything I will teach you tomorrow. Any doubts? Ishwar, Rajeshwar, Sneha. Okay, what is this? Okay, welcome. Okay, right.
So,
Any doubts?
what is the duration of this course?
40 days.
40 days. Okay.
Okay, today is the third demo. Tomorrow also we have demo class, and tomorrow I will explain how to install SQL Server and how to create databases and all. Okay, any other doubts? Anybody?
So in this portion also we are going to cover the dynamic SQL part, or
Dynamic SQL, that we will. Okay, I will teach you that. Okay. How to write a dynamic SQL, everything I will teach you.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Any other doubts? Vivek Mishra and Sneha. Okay, fine. You will get access to all these videos, not to worry. And I will provide the class notes also. Every day you get your class notes. And at the end of the course, I will provide the complete material, and I will provide you the database so that you can work on it. Okay. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me now, or otherwise you can continue. We can continue this tomorrow. Okay. Fine.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Let's stop.